Hello everybody, welcome to another episode of Badass Unscripted. Now look, I wouldn't personally quiet quit for a whole bunch of reasons. I understand the motivation behind it. Our boundaries are not being respected, our time's not being respected. We're being asked to do increasingly more with less. And in fact, it's not even the quitting part that I disagree with, it's the quiet part. When you break off communication, we're creating an us versus them environment. And on both sides of the coin, it's toxic. There's no question change is due. I think change is due largely because we've seen for the first time in the past 2 years, because of working from home, that there's all kinds of new possibilities, that business doesn't have to be the way it used to be. And I actually like that. I think this is great, don't you? When I used to go see clients, I had a 3-hour door-to-door commute. And I can tell you this much, I don't miss it. There's no question that in the office, out of the office, people are and were being overworked. It used to be a badge of honor to have a 60 or 80-hour work week. It used to be acceptable for companies to cut staff and ask the existing people who were left behind to do more, to not replace people who had left, but to simply pile the work on the shoulders of those who remain. One of the big Agile principles is that whatever we do must be sustainable. We must be able to carry on work at this level indefinitely without burning people out. So it's not working. And I do put the blame squarely on the attitudes of corporations and their leaders. They're not hearing their people. They're not listening. And if they are listening, they've kind of gotten a little bitter and a little bit angry and a bit divisive and accusatory. They say things like, well, you're just lazy. Facebook CEO recently comes out and says, listen, there's a lot of people around this town not doing any work, and we intend to get rid of you. And that's the problem with quiet quitting. Because if you do it quietly, then what follows quickly on the heels is what we now call quiet firing. Do you understand how the way we're going isn't going to turn out well? On the one hand, I love the let's reclaim our autonomy. Let us only do the work that we're contracted or expected or paid to do, and leave all the extras off to the side. We're simply not doing them. I maintain that there's a problem with that. I have never met anyone exceptional who does exceptional things, who does it by doing the bare minimum. Even if the bare minimum is a lot of work, it's what's mandated in your contract. There will always be room for going the extra mile. Sorry. And you might be shaking your fist right now all angry, but if you've ever hired anyone before, someone to cut your lawn, someone to mind your kids, if you've ever had customer service at your car dealership or your favorite jeans store, you know what awesome customer service is like. And you also know what just cutting the average looks like too. The real heavy hitters in this world are not people who took pleasure in cutting corners. They are people who put in the extra work. Now, my personal story is this. I love what I do every day. So I'm here recording these podcasts at 9 p.m., 10 p.m., 6 a.m., and that means my regular life has got a lot of juggling built into it. But it never feels like burnout. It never feels like I'm being taken advantage of, because this is what I was put on this planet to do. Some may say, yeah, but you're lucky. Others would say, yeah, but I worked for it. I insisted on it. I made it my mission to ensure that I'm doing what I love every day. And I highly encourage, if you don't love what you're doing every day and you're being taken advantage of, and you can feel the impacts on your physical health, your mental health, your family, then absolutely something needs to change. But here's what I would do differently. I wouldn't just roll back on activities and declare that this is the bare minimum, this is what I'm paid to do, I'm acting my wage. I would do this. Figure out what are the top 3 things that you are meant to help the organization with. Big hint is what are you measured on? But another big hint is what do your customers value? Pick 3 priorities. As a matter of fact, write down everything that you do, all the meetings you go to, all the reports that you prepare, and then rank them. And start at the very, very top. Which of those activities have bearing on the highest priorities of the company or the people you serve? And then work your way down the list until the least important, least significant, least impactful, least helpful thing is at the very, very bottom. You must rank these so that you can say, I'm going to commit to and work on delivering the top 3 each and every week. But the things underneath that, the things that don't add value, the things that occupy time, those are the things that will fall off in an effort to restore balance and to make the most efficient use of my time. Now, I still maintain that avoiding the conversation is not what a courageous badass would do. You need to be comfortable having this conversation with managers or bosses, and if they're not willing to have this conversation with you, you are definitely working for the wrong place. Don't do your company or yourself the disservice of staying at a job that is burning you out, that you don't enjoy, where you are not appreciated and respected just to collect a pension or maintain your medical benefits. To allow those conditions to persist in exchange for a little bit of paper, a position, a title, a cushy desk, I think that's unethical to yourself, to your team, and to the people who pay your salary. So I would implore you to become courageous, to have the conversation. If you're not willing to have the conversation, at least focus on the highest value items as you see it. If you get it wrong, trust me, somebody will let you know. I've been known to say, listen, I'm not taking any meetings before 10 a.m., before 11, before noon. And people will say, well, how can you not be in this meeting? You're expected to be in this meeting. Great. Why am I expected to be in this meeting? And someone will say, well, we'd like your input. Wonderful. What is some other way that I can get or provide my input to you without physically spending the hour? And they will again try to make excuses and understand that this is people with average thinking, with meeting-based thinking, trying to drag you down to their level of thinking. And you can't allow it. If you're serious about having a prosperous career in which you don't burn yourself out, you need to get laser focused on the highest value things. It's ridiculous. Doing the low value things will not create high value outcomes. But if somebody pushes the issue and say, you know what, you really need to be in this meeting, you can say, well, okay, listen, I'm working on these top 3 high value things. These are things that are meaningful to my VP, my director, or the CEO. Next time I see them, I need to let them know that I will no longer be able to produce outputs at the level they've come to expect. What I need from you is to understand, what do I tell them about how I'm spending my time instead. That usually shuts them up. But again, if it doesn't and they threaten to walk you out the door, you are working for the wrong place, and no amount of quiet quitting is going to help you. If you're talking about reclaiming your autonomy, to me, this is so much more powerful. Because look, a system and the people within that system that allowed the abuses to continue, they're not suddenly going to change their ways because of your quiet quitting. They're not going to suddenly wake up and say, oh, this person really means business, how we've disregarded and misused them. No. They're going to look at you and they're going to see you as a problem. I don't see this ending well. I certainly don't see companies at this moment embracing quiet quitting and say, what a terrible mistake we've made. Let's pay better attention to this. This is not the right way to get their attention. The right way to get their attention is either to leave and bring your skills and talents elsewhere, or show them that you're a home run hitter, and then tell them that in order to sustain that level of productivity, that level of success, you will and need to eliminate the following low value activities. But I'll say it again, before you do anything that gets you #quietfired, find a mentor, find somebody that you can trust, and have this discussion with them, because I think that the divide is only going to get bigger, and that serves none of us. My friends, I hope this inspired and informed you. As always, you can reach out on Instagram at BadassAgile, on Twitter at Badass_Agile, and as always at BadassAgile.com. I look forward to seeing you next time, and until then, stay badass.